He's gonna shove it.
Yeah!
He's gonna shove it.
Hey guys!
Alright, who's ready to take a brick to the head for the squad? Last time I reviewed NWA TNA, people actually watched and they asked me to not stop doing these reviews, so I won't, alright? But upon reflection, what you might see in this video may change your mind. Just a heads up as well, I'm not reaping the full benefits of my increased YouTube hours yet. The Hawk is a man of many talents, but painting isn't one, and trust me, it ain't fun. Also, I'm just going to take a second of your time just to discuss the recent controversy that I was involved with. I was contacted by a booker on Instagram who asked me to come help him out of his wrestling show. It's taking place in New Milton, which for those of you who don't know is down near Southampton, Bournemouth way, down south. I thought that was all cool because the Hawk's happy to help a brother out. But then it's recently come to light that the booker was a certain man who used to appear on this channel. Now I'm not going to give him any time on the channel again, but if you want to see his video and my thoughts on what he said, head over to the second channel, Hawk and Friends. Now I don't know if I'm still going to attend this show or not. Now the Hawk is usually a man of his word, but I've got until Friday the 22nd of October to decide if I'm going to turn up or not. I don't know, maybe I can punch a few people in the gut whilst I'm there. Because this guy called P sure ain't no brother of mine. Back to the NWA TNA show, it's episodes 30 and 31 today. If you think the last video was crazy, it's about to punch you in the gut, smack you one and tell you to shove it all at once. I'm pretty sure today's episode almost drove Nwa Tna to stress so much that his hair fell off until he resembled a human mushroom. Yeah, I know his hair was already gone. I'm talking about his pubic hair, there's no need to share. The show starts out with Raven, who debuted last week in TNA, just 2 days after his WWE run came to an end. Raven sat on a staircase looking annoyed. Welcome to the big time, Raven. He has the NWA heavyweight title, but it doesn't actually belong to him and he stole it at the end of the last show. It's a good promo from Raven. The highlight is him saying that he will urinate in the champion's bone marrow. He will just rip off their head and piss into their neck. He says welcome to Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun. The crowd cheer. Then, a wild Slapnuts appears with a trash can.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Slappy's in a bad mood as usual, this time because he's had his belt stolen by Raven. Jarrett's beating him up. Oh god, he struggles to pick up a steel chair. Slappy gets him in the ring and smashes him with the trash can again. Slappy decks Raven with the belt and sets him up on a table. Unfortunately for dear old Slapnuts, who's in full wife beater mode here, he's unable to squash Raven through the table, because Russo turns up. Raven suplexes Slappy through the table to continue his bad mood. They then steal the belt back and leave, and some goons rush out from the back. Slapnuts is helped to his feet by Jerry Lynn and Truth, two guys who were on a par with him just a couple of months ago. Now they're worthless. Goldilocks is in the back with Jorge Estrada. He's not exactly flying to Graceland anymore. He looks like he's covered in warts and he's losing all of his matches. She asks him if he's going to join Sports Entertainment Extreme and he says he's considering it. Now we get a Vince Russo hype package, 4 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Amazing Red is out for the first match of the night. He will take on Jorge Estrada. Hopefully he won't be botching tonight like he was last week. It's a really good opening exchange to be fair. Both men are flying through the air like the Hawk, but neither can land much on the other. Estrada bails to the outside and Red motions he's going to dive on him but stops himself at the last second. Then he hits an acai moonsault anyway. They get back in the ring and Estrada misses the split-legged moonsault. Red can't capitalise from the top as he gets hit with a big-time arm drag for a 2. Jorge applies a half Boston but it's pointless and Red gets out of it quickly. Amazing Red is now awake and he kicks Jorge in the face and then again in the head. Jorge cuts Red off with a springboard dropkick. He's really feeling himself now and he hits another springboard, this time into a leg drop across the ropes. He's definitely doing better tonight. Red hits the Code Red to calm him down for a 2 count. Amazing Red then tries another dive but he misses and it costs him as Jorge gives him the Northern Lights. He can't follow it up though when he gets pushed off the top rope and then the Amazing Red nails him with the infrared. Beyond boring, Mike Sanders is back again now trying to recruit Jorge. He tells him to join SEX again but Jorge doesn't want to do it. He calls Jorge a little bitch but he gets shoved over. Suddenly, Disco Inferno is in the ring with a steel chair smacking Estrada. Mike today says, "Oh great, not this jackass." The faction continues to grow, and I continue to groan. Backstage, Goldilocks is with the half-man, half-mold who looks like he's just had to put his dog down. He says he's looking for solutions when Slapnuts grabs him and tells him he wants Raven in the ring. It's not cleared up though if Jeff gets his wish. Things get seriously exciting next as David Flair is out wearing a cheap beanie and carrying a sack of shit. He'll be taking on Jerry Lynn in a very predictable matchup. Lynn wants to hit Flair with the sack but he bails. Lynn then leaves it at ringside without checking what's in there, or moving it so he can't be used later on. What an idiot. The match starts with Lynn hitting a dropkick. He also hits a bulldog on the Flair child. The crowd then chuckle at Flair as he crashes into the ring pole. They fight on the outside until Flair drops Lynn on the crowd barrier, nutsack first. They come back in the ring with Flair making a pin with his feet on the ropes, but the ref sees it. Flair is distracted by the crowd and he wants to come off the top, but he takes too long and Lynn throws him. Jerry Lynn then kicks him like a Scott Steiner match from 2003. Lynn hits the 10 punches in the corner as David takes a Flair bump to the mat. Lynn's following leg drop doesn't put him away though. Jerry then puts on the figure 4 as the crowd are in silence, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Then there's a ref bump and David grabs his sack. The Truth also appears at ringside and he's trying to grab it from him and he succeeds, but then he accidentally hits his friend Jerry Lynn with it. David Flair wins the match. He seems to be getting quite the push. He's beaten Jerry Lynn 2 weeks in a row with his sack of shit. Probably the worst Jerry Lynn match in TNA history. So far at least. Next up we get a 5-minute recap of the Molddog family feud, but nobody could possibly care about these guys. A couple of years before this, Road Dogg was a big star in the Attitude Era. Now his hair's turned green from all the mould in the TNA locker room. Mike Tenay has a sit-down interview with the Molldog now. They talk about things that happened between Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett back when he was a roadie for him, about 100 years before. He talks about how much that gimmick sucked. Mike Tenay calls him the most entertaining person in the whole of the WWF. Oldie goes on to talk about his family and says they're just jealous of him. He says his brother is a zebra and he's a crocodile in the Nile. The interview is interrupted by his stupid zebra brother who says he's not listening to this anymore. Then the interview ends. Good. AMW in the ring now and they finally have a microphone for the first time in 20 shows. I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say. Unfortunately, they both look miserable. Seems to be a running theme on this show today. Harris, the former male underwear model, is sulking about losing the tag titles to Triple X. He doesn't want to wait for the rematch and wants it tonight. The Cowboy now has the mic and it's a very good promo. He's always been great, hasn't he? He ends it by saying sorry about your damn luck. It's not over with the crowd yet. Molddog is out now with a microphone and the rest of the jobber group are with him. Moldy says they seem a bit sexually frustrated. He then says it's time for some group sex. We get a 6-on-2 beatdown. The Rock and Roll Express suddenly debut in TNA with steel chairs to run off SEX. Then they turn and hit Storm and Harris with the chairs and they join SEX. Great, more pointless characters in the group. Who could have seen the Rock and Roll Express turning on the NWA? Road Dogg is doing commentary again, and as it happens he says that it seems AMW like their sex rough. Time for your weekly cage dancer roundup. It's just the same two, the blonde just for men one and the lollipop one. How about some damn debuts in the cage? It continues going downhill as Beyond Boring Mike Sanders is out. Man, I keep moaning about it, but the standards of wrestling has completely slipped. Why can't there be some sort of in-between? He takes on Ron the Truth Killings, whose star is fading quicker than a punch to the gut. The commentary are asking if Truth hitting Lynn with the sack in the last match was an accident. Yes it was. Get over it. Truth hits a couple of nice arm drags and he drops Sanders on his face. Mike Sanders suddenly starts trying to breakdance to take Truth down. Sanders puts on some sort of leg lock which lasts for several minutes before the Truth makes the ropes. Then Sanders puts on another leg lock. I almost joined the crowd and fell asleep. Truth looks like he's been destroyed by Mike Sanders. Truth finally wakes up and hits a downward spiral for the double down. Truth then tries a kick but he gets shoved down as Sanders goes back to the leg game. Don West asks if we think that Sanders is trying to ground Truth. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Sanders takes Truth off the top rope and hits one of the weakest spinebusters I've ever seen. Then he puts on a single leg crab. I can't believe this domination by Mike Sanders, except I'm watching it so it must be real. Truth finally kicks Sanders off but then he gets drop kicked on his bad leg. Sanders eventually gets distracted by the crowd and he gets hit by a Truth top rope drop kick for another double down. Who would have thought this match would go so long? Truth is now awake and he starts his comeback but the crowd just don't care at this point. Truth gives Sanders the power slam for a 2 count. Truth wants to hit the splits into the kicks but his leg gives out and Sanders laughs at him. Then there's a small package but it's still not over. Then Truth does do the splits into the kicks but he can't win the match because Jerry Lynn appears with the sack. Truth knees him off the apron and then Sanders takes advantage. He rolls up Truth for the 3. Wow, just wow, we've now seen this finish 3 times. Truth and Lynn shove each other after the match because they're bad losers. Goldilocks is now with Sports Entertainment Extreme. She interviews Ricky, Morty and Robert Gibson. Ricky is trying to explain why he joined SEX. He says back when he had to work for all the meals and when the girls' tits were real. He says they started the whole entertainment side of wrestling and they will continue to do it. Half man, half mold walks up and says screw you both and puts them in a match against AMW. AJ Styles is out now with a microphone which always leaves the production team on high alert. Styles tells the crowd to zip it a few times. Styles is moaning that he's not heavyweight champion. The crowd are chanting at him, so he screams, "Would you please zip it?" This is great.
Zip it! Zip it. Would you just zip it? Just zip it, okay? Zip it!
Styles then says he's not aligned with Albino, Harry Potter or Russo, just like he did last week. He says he's bored with the X Division and wants to be a heavyweight champion. He sounds like a spoilt baby as he screams in the ring. Styles starts bragging about how easy it was to beat Larry Zbyszko last week, but he's then interrupted by Raven. Raven tells Styles to go back to the X Division. Styles asks Raven if that's a syringe in his pants or if he's just happy to see him. Raven responds by telling AJ that he looks like Elton John's life partner. This is the highlight of the show, hands down. AJ tells Raven to go and shoot up heroin in the locker room.
Is that a syringe in your skirt? Or are you just happy to see me?
You know, that's kind of funny coming from someone who looks like Elton John's life partner.
Crawl your little self back to the sex locker room so you can shoot up with a little more heroin.
Raven and Styles get into each other's faces, but the fight is broken up by some goons. This is what I'm talking about. It felt like these two guys hated each other. More of this in wrestling, please. Slapnuts appears in the ring to beat up Styles and Raven. He gives AJ the stroke and now he has possession of his belt back. Larry Zbyszko limps out to the ring next. AJ Styles is still in the ring and he gets another lecture from Larry. Styles eventually gets bored and tells him that he can beat him again. This time AJ has to beat him twice in 10 minutes. If AJ loses, Larry has to be his manager. If AJ can beat him, Larry will do everything he can to get him a title shot. I don't know how Larry can get him a shot, he's not an authority figure. AJ tells him this isn't a Christmas story, but Larry slaps him. The match is on. Styles sends him to the ground with a clothesline in the corner. Then AJ follows up with a slam and a senton. Larry fights back with an abdominal stretch and then goes into a pin for a 2. He continues his submission until Styles makes the ropes. Larry then hits a back body drop and then he almost rolls Styles up again. Styles keeps making the ropes so Larry boots him in the gut. Larry then puts on a standing figure 4 whilst cheating, not a move I remember seeing in a while. Zbyszko stops doing that and then he hits a backdrop suplex instead. Larry is completely dominant. AJ tries to fight off the submissions, but no matter what he does, Larry keeps torturing him with his moves. Some of these submissions look pretty cool too. I'm actually shocked how great Larry Zbyszko was in this last part of his career. A small package almost ends the match, but it doesn't work. Styles finally finds some breathing room and he springs off the ropes and hits a reverse DDT. This is enough to pin Larry, but he's still got to pin him again, and there's not long left on the clock. Larry comes back at Styles with a spinebuster into a Boston Crab. Suddenly, the albino Harry Potter appears at ringside to cheer on AJ. Everyone's distracted by the bleach blonde boil and he hands AJ some sort of weapon, but Larry fights it off. The ref is distracted as the albino tries to throw baby powder at Larry, but he dodges it. Then there's a neck breaker by Zbyszko and it's almost over. The crowd are loving every second of this match. We get a double down with a minute left as AJ hits a dropkick. Potter is on the apron again now, wedging a chair in the corner. There's a mid-ring collision as 30 seconds remain. Then Larry reverses an Irish whip and he sends Styles into the corner and the chair. AJ is screwed and he gets rolled up. He does manage to kick out the pin, but he still lost the match as he couldn't beat Larry twice in 10 minutes. Potter's going nuts as well because he wanted to manage AJ, so now he's lost him. Enjoyed that match, good stuff. Coming up next, one of the weirdest, craziest segments I've ever seen in wrestling. Goldilocks has shoved Paul Bearer in the ring. Bearer's flipping out at Russo for smashing him with a soapbox last week. Bearer says that he's not leaving the ring until he's interrupted by Tony Schiavone. I forgot he came back to TNA at one point. Tony still looks like one of Jeff Hardy's stoner friends though. Tony says that Paul Bearer was kissing Vince Russo's ass last week and begging for a place in SEX. Well, he's not lying, that did happen. Tony starts complaining that he's not had a job in pro wrestling for 2 years. I guess he forgot the first few weeks at TNA. Tony starts dissing Goldilocks because he's jealous of her. Tony says that she should be holding something, but not a mic. Talking of Mike, Tenay is invited into the ring next. Schiavone starts complaining at him that he's got a job and Tony doesn't. It's basically a shoot promo that nobody wants to hear. In my opinion, shoot promos only work well if someone has the fire and delivery. Plus, at the end of the day, it's Tony Schiavone doing a 10-minute shoot interview on how jealous he is of other people. Paul Bearer is still here, squashing his face into the camera shot. Just when you thought it couldn't be more of a bizarre segment, Russo's here. There's 3 grown men screaming about WCW in the year 2003 in TNA. Russo takes Schiavone's side and invites him to join SEX. Mike Tenay calls him an ass kisser. Why is Paul Bearer still here? This is still going on as they start talking about another WCW announcer, Scott Hudson. God, he's not going to turn up as well, is he? Tony then leaves with Russo. It's over. Not sure why Paul Bearer left, he said he wasn't going to. Next up we got a mixed tag match. It's Don't Look at My Ass, Sayaki and Desire. Mike Tenay is still sulking on commentary about what just happened. They're taking on Trinity and Kid Cash. Sayaki starts out hitting a nice Samoan drop variation for a 2. Cash then fights back with a double springboard hurricanrana. He isn't done yet and he jumps from the top, but Sayaki sort of swats him out the air. It doesn't look great. New move from Cash next. As Sayaki is lying on the far side of the ring, Cash springboards from the other side with senton into a leg drop on Sonny's nutsack. Lovely, I don't know why he doesn't do that move more often. Trinity also hits a moonsault to the outside. Don't Look at My Ass is going to have to step his game up or he's going to be looking at nothing but lights soon. The girls get into the match now. Trinity hits a flying head scissors into the cross arm breaker, shades of Ronda Rousey. Trinity hits an arm drag and a drop kick. This woman's been incredibly impressive in TNA so far. Desire, who hasn't been as impressive, gives her a super kick. She follows up with a vertical suplex. Sayaki gets in now and he drops Trinity across the ropes. It's not looking good for her as Sayaki knocks her down. Cash tries to get into the ring as Sayaki hits her with an overhead suplex. Athena then appears on the ring apron to distract Desire. Trinity rolls her up and it's over. It was a good match for a few minutes, but it ended way too soon, probably due to all the pointless talking earlier on. Talking of pointless talking, Tony Schiavone's back now making fun of Mike Tenay again for calling it Inziguris and Hurricanranas. He then tries to interview Sonny Sayaki and tells him to look at the hard camera. Sonny seems confused and he's swearing about some sort of match with Amazing Red. Konad then appears in the ring with a kendo stick to beat up Sayaki. That fat weird man is back again from the last episode, but he doesn't have a hat on this time. Who the hell is this guy? What is he? Konan's girlfriend? It's literally the only time I've ever seen him. Mike Tenay looks like he's ready to explode with anger. Things go back to normal for a bit now as Slapnuts cuts an interview with the title, threatening people. The main event seems to be the Rock and Roll Express versus America's Most Wanted. Not many pay-per-view quality matches tonight, eh? AMW do the do-si-do spot to start the match. Storm then clotheslines Ricky down as he thinks he's outsmarted him. Harris hits a bulldog as AMW are dominating. Robert Gibson's in now, but it doesn't go much better for him as Harris starts slamming everyone. Storm and Harris give him a sort of drop-kick spinebuster combination. It looks like this one could be over soon. I say that, but then Ricky Morton cheats from the outside to turn the tide of the match. And then we get a very, very long period of the Rock and Roll Express isolating James Storm. It's nothing worth talking about particularly. Harris does eventually get in and they hit the death sentence on Ricky Morton. The ref is distracted. Suddenly Elix Skipper is wobbling around on the top rope. He hits a bad looking belt shot. The Rock and Roll Express win the match. The disciples of the new church who we haven't seen for ages are now back, beating up SEX. This is about the third time this group have left to come back. It all ends with a big brawl between Jarrett, Russo and Raven. Jarrett gets DDT'd but ultimately he throws Raven through a table. Slapnut starts threatening Russo, but AJ Styles appears and he hits the stroke on Jarrett. AJ leaves with the belt, so I guess he's stealing it now instead. Mike Tenay is screaming that he has no idea what's going on. Poor Tenay, I think this show broke him. The show ends with Tenay screaming, "Stop Russo!" A perfect ending. Well, that was quite the episode. I'm being sarcastic if you can't tell. Let's see what episode 2 has in store for us.
Hey, it's John Bad Johnson. High heating bill scaring you this winter? With rising gas prices, we could all do with pitching those extra pennies this fall. But I can help save some money for free with SaveWithJohnBad.com. You don't need to catch frostbite this winter with my free money-saving advice. All you'll have to do is empty your garbage in your recycling cans. What you're looking for here is plastic, cardboard, paper, anything but glass. You then take some tape, your rubbish and the recycling, and you tape it all to the windows. There should be no glass remaining. This will build up a natural insulation system. Keep going until glass is no longer visible. This can save you a potential 10% on heat loss for your room. But hey, we ain't done yet, folks. You can take any remaining trash and push that inside your jumper and pants to help keep the extra heat in this winter, where you need it the most. I personally fill my outfit with McDonald's wrappers every day, and I'm feeling great. Now what say you? For more money-saving advice, see if you can save money for free with SaveWithJohnBad.com. Larry Zbyszko is in the ring and he has the NWA title. He's got it back from Styles. He's bragging that he didn't lose twice to Styles in 10 minutes. Strangely, Larry then asked for AJ to have a world title shot. That doesn't even make sense. He was only meant to get one if he beat Larry twice in 10 minutes. Slapnuts comes out and says that all AJ has to do is ask him face to face. Jeff then says he's going to take the title out of Larry's ass, which seems to entertain Larry. Jarrett marches to the ring, but he's attacked by AJ from behind.
Larry tries to break it up, but Slappy nuts him and he stands tall. What a hero. Suddenly a group of men in army uniforms swarm the ring. They put a hood over Jeff Jarrett and take him away. But never mind that, because we've got a match. Estrada is here and he comes out to the SEX music. So is he with them now, or was it a mistake? It looked like a mistake. The army men are back and it's Disco Inferno with them to take on Estrada. Beyond boring, Mike Sanders is on commentary just to make it worse. Estrada starts out with a head scissors and a springboard senton. Estrada hits a springboard kick to carry on his good work. It doesn't last though, as Disco hits an atomic drop and a clothesline. Disco then hits a neck breaker and starts dancing around like a fool. Then he hits a weird bouncing neck breaker. Disco carries on dancing as Sanders talks about what great character development this is. Apparently Disco's new persona is that he's gifted. Gifted in what way? He hits a Russian leg sweep and then he screams for the Village People elbow but misses. This match is going in slow motion. Jorge fights back with a lion salt. This guy loves a good spring off the ropes, doesn't he? Disco quickly closes his springing down with a DDT. Then out of nowhere, Estrada hits a backslide pin and it's a 3. What an in-ring debut for Disco. Disco and Sanders then strip away the Elvis suit from Jorge and then they leave. The crowd chant, "You are gay." There's actually a reason they took the suit, believe it or not. Half Man, Half Mold is backstage saying that he's been too busy to find Jeff Jarrett, but he says that SEX won't get away with the kidnapping. What's he going to do? Throw his walking stick at them? Russo's here now explaining his plan to take over the show tonight. Russo goes on to say that Jarrett is in no harm and he actually loves Jeff Jarrett. So it's basically a promo saying that although Jeff's been kidnapped, Jeff's not in trouble. No suspense here, folks. Russo starts talking to Disco Inferno about his skills with character development. Russo says as Jeff has so many gimmick changes over the years, Glenn has to develop a new character for Jeff Jarrett. Russo wants him to be cursing and only thinking about tits and asses. What a great gimmick that'll be. It sounds like me. Dusty Rhodes appears and he beats up Disco. Russo's annoyed at being interrupted by Dusty, but he doesn't do anything about it. Rhodes then calls out some of the main characters on the NWA side. Dusty says they need to get rid of SEX and he's appointing Truth as the leader of the group. I don't think that will work. It's still 20 versus 5. We get a return to normality now as Don't Look at My Ass is on his way out to defend his X Division title. He'll be defending it against the Amazing Red. Sonny isn't taking Amazing Red seriously and he wants to wrestle him from his knees, but he soon regrets it. Sonny ends up on the outside and Red hits him with a flip dive. Back in the ring, Red hits a head scissors and a spin kick. Red then hits a missile drop kick. Sayaki quickly shuts him down with a fireman's carry slam. He keeps the power game up with an alley-oop across the ropes. Amazing Red isn't kept down for long and he hits a spin kick to send Sayaki out the ring. Red goes for a dive but he fakes out and then he tries to dive off the apron but Sayaki catches him and slams him into the commentary desk. Sonny dominates the match for a while but he has to shut Red down with a kick to the face to keep on top. Amazing Red does eventually manage to hit a diving DDT from the top rope but it's just a 2. With the crowd fully behind Red, he hits the code Red as the comeback is on. I say that, but Desire stops Red. Red looks to try and put Sayaki away again, but he shoves the referee down and Desire kicks Red off the top. Sayaki then hits the Don't Look at My Ass Now for game over. Decent-ish match. I feel like my standards have been lowered by the last couple of TNA shows. They tried to beat up Red again after the match, but Cash and Trinity stopped them. Mike Tna is doing a sit-down interview with Konad now. He wants to know why he keeps hitting people with kendo sticks. Konad compares himself to The Rock, but when he was in Mexico. He's moaning that he's been misused in America. Konad says he's annoyed the X Division is stealing the luchador style. Tna says he agrees with him and wants to see the luchadors at TNA. Mike Tna goes on to sing the praises of the X Division, so Konad calls him a racist. He says he's got to do whatever it takes to help the Latinos. Half Man, Half Mold is smiling in the darkness backstage. Maybe he's finally had a shower. Molddog walks up and the mic cuts out. He keeps trying to talk, but we can't hear him. I didn't want to hear what he had to say either. They're worried about something, who knows. That very man is out now for a match, and he's taking on Zach Gowan for his TNA debut. He's billed as Tenacious Z. Moldy doesn't want to fight him because he's too pale, even for Molldog standards. Moldy keeps asking Tna if this is a rib. Gowan hits a drop kick and follows it with kicks in the corner. He tries the 10 punches, but Dog launches him across the ring. Gowan then tries to mount a comeback, but he gets smacked down again. Gowan doesn't give up and he hits a leg lariat and an acai moonsault to the outside. Molldog's in a bad mood and he boots him down with embarrassment. Road Dogg then hits a suplex, but he doesn't want to end the match yet. He seems to be arguing with his stupid Moldy brother too. Gowan then almost rolls him up as that's going on. Then Gowan actually does it as he rolls up Molldog for the 3. Raven appears and he jumps Gowan. He has a microphone and he starts threatening Styles for the heavyweight title. Why don't they just go take it from him? There's about 20 of them. AJ braces us with his presence and we seem to have a fight here. They're fighting over a belt that neither of them own. They have a pretty even fight until Raven decides to break AJ's fingers like it's a 7 Deadly Sins gimmick from 1 month earlier in WWE. In my eyes, stupidity is a sin, and AJ is that for his choice of managers. Raven gets the belt back, so he's happy. Goldilocks is pestering the half-man, half-mold again. He says he's got a wife at home who does less bitching than her. AMW walk up also complaining, and they say they want a rematch for their tag titles. James Mitchell's also lurking there, and he says that that's not happening as the New Church already have a title shot tonight. Not sure what they did to deserve it apart from sit at home for a month. Next up, it's a 4 corners match that I really don't want to watch. It's David Flair versus Beyond Boring versus Lynn versus Killings. Lynn and Killings have lots of sexual tension. Jorge Estrada appears at some point and he hits a drop kick on Mike Sanders as Jerry Lynn pins him to eliminate Sanders. For God's sake, I'd hoped this one would be over, but it's apparently elimination rules. David Flair wants to put on the figure 4, but Jerry reverses it into a pin to eliminate him. We're just left with Truth and Killings now, but then there's a ref bump. Flair nails Lynn with his little sack, again, and then Truth hits the back, sack and crack to pin Lynn and win the match.
NWA Impact brings you the Smack of the Week, sponsored by all new Blonde for Men. If you're a brown-haired Potter, put some blonde in it. It makes you look hotter.
Alright, Randy the Ram looks taking advantage. Oh no, Truth hits the ref. The ref's down. Truth sends Ram across the ring, and there's David Flair. He hits him with a nutsack. Ram's down. Ram's down. What's in that thing of pile of bricks, man? I don't know, but the match seems to be over.
That was the NWA TNA Smack of the Week, sponsored by Blonde Just for Men. Get it? Got it? Shove it.
Is Truth with SEX? Don't know, don't care. Goldilocks is in the back with Triple X. Elix Skipper is singing We Are Family.
A robbery?
Yeah, a robbery. Did I stutter?
You don't know nothing about a robbery. Matter of fact, you need to hang out with me, and I can teach you all about robbing. Because we are family. Hey, 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 hee-haw.
The Warrior is all serious though, as usual. Desire walks up and asks Goldilocks why she's not interviewing her. She says Goldie has a bad looking boob job and her nipples are facing the wrong way. Desire's out now for a match against Trinity. Both ladies are rocking the blue pants here. Trinity starts out with a drop kick to send her to the outside. Desire slaps Cash, which causes him to chase her. Trinity also chases her, but she gets a Sayaki super kick. Desire whips her across the ring to hit a terrible looking back elbow. In fact, she completely misses her. Trinity then mounts a comeback with a springboard crossbody. Trinity seems really dizzy as Desire doesn't really hit her, but she falls down. Desire then throws her out the ring and Sayaki keeps on cheating. The match is rough to watch. They just keep falling over. Desire hits a back elbow, but this time it actually connects. Desire then viciously throws her out the ring as Sayaki tries to rip her locks out. This match is also long, for no reason at all. Something finally happens with Trinity as she hits a Northern Light suplex, but it's not over yet. She then gets up and hits an Enziguri kick. Desire tries to monkey flip Trinity out the corner, but Cash holds onto her. Desire falls across the ring, which enables Trinity to hit the moonsault for the free. As pretty as Desire is, she's not a good wrestler. I'm sorry, that was bad, man.
That was bad, bro, bad.
I'm done with both of these guys. I am totally done.
Tag title match now. It's the New Church versus Triple X. The match starts with an intense brawl, which the New Church obviously get the better of. Slash hits a Michinoku driver on the ramp, but Low-Ki isn't that hurt and everyone's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour all over the arena. Low-Ki gets in the ring eventually and turns the match around with a springboard kick. Low-Ki also puts on a dragon sleeper as blood spills out of everyone's faces. It's weird seeing the New Church's faces, but whatever, we've just got to roll with it here. The match is eventually turned around after Slash catches Low-Ki from a dive and hits the Eye of the Storm. Brian Lee gets the tag as he plows through Triple X. He tries a choke slam, but Low-Ki fights it off. They end up on the top rope. Brian Lee tries another choke slam from the top, but Skipper smacks him with a chair. I've just noticed Belladonna's now gone from the church. She's a real loss. The ref is still distracted and Slash hits a final cut on the steel chair, but Skipper kicks out. Low-Ki starts doing some gymnastics, but Slash isn't having it and he shoves him off, causing a ref bump. Skipper kicks Slash in the Slash zone. A bit later on, Slash is fighting Skipper on the top rope and he hits a massive net breaker from the top. Then, a good match is ruined. They want to do a double pin finish, but the timing is completely off. One of the referees has to wait for the other. The ultimate decision is that the tag belts are held up. Russo's army are now back in the ring and a big brawl takes place. In fact, the brawl lasts for 10 minutes, with SEX eventually getting the better of Team NWA. So much for the Truth being some sort of great leader. The coolest bit is Trinity fighting the men. Half man, half mold even gets physically involved against his son. Raven's just chilling in the ring having a good time. Russo has a mic and starts directing the troops. They lock some of the wrestlers in their dumb dressing room. Russo then starts threatening the crowd and saying they're next, but first he wants Disco Inferno to unmask and tell everyone that Jeff Jarrett's okay. Disco unmasked for what is probably the greatest wild slap nuts appears moment ever. I also think it was probably the first time I used it. Smack me in the gut if I'm wrong. The show goes off the air, but presumably Jeff Jarrett beats up 20 men on his own. I'm lost for words, and I don't say that often. I don't know if I can keep doing this. It's just a bunch of boring shoot promos and wrestlers I don't care about. I can see why people were annoyed about the dramatic change in the programming during the Sports Entertainment Extreme era. I completely get it, there's no need to wish me dead, because this hawk can peck, and if you don't agree with that, I'll rip off your head and piss down your neck.